Uh,
Welcome back.
uh,
Can you put it on the Audacity? Otherwise, I just look at myself too much. Please.
it's because you're a good-looking gentleman.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
can't
you.
blame you.
Yeah.
Fine.
Just need to.
Fuck. We'll do it that way then. All right.
I did not learn from reading the story of Narcissus drowning in his reflection in a puddle.
Do I have any pities?
I don't know.
I
Check.
don't think so. I think we good.
That looks like a pretty pitiable shirt.
Yeah, but that's why I'm wearing the underdress
Yeah.
shirt.
Absorb it. And then the undershirt under that.
No.
What
I-
color is that sweater?
Red.
I can't tell in this lighting.
Red.
Okay.
Or gray.
Gray?
Gray is the sweater, yeah.
What
I
the
can't...
fuck did you think I asked about?
The shirt underneath.
Oh, okay.
I would never trust a guy that wears an undershirt underneath his dress shirt and opens up the dress shirt so you can see the undershirt.
Like the t-shirt. That is a weird look. I don't love that. You know who does that? Jerry Seinfeld, because I was watching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
There was some guy that was a CEO of a company on CNBC probably 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I can't trust this guy. Wears an undershirt with his shirt open. Nope. Short the
And-
company.
And what happened?
They went to zero.
Who was it?
No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't remember which company it was, but
It went to zero.
yeah. So today on the Edmonton Journal, there was an article. Sorry, not an article. A user letter to
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
Edmonton Journal, and it was about Candy Cane Lane and how people are disrespecting it and like leaving alcohol bottles on people's lawns and stepping on people's lawns and vandalizing shit.
Yeah.
So I shared it on Facebook and I said, "Put some respect on my name."
When you say my name, put some respect on it. You should have just said, sorry, we'll put our recyclables in the backyard next time, or something stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all our house. Just throwing bottles on people's. Yeah, to be honest with you, man, I walked down it a couple times because
Yeah.
I took the old lady out
Yep.
the front door, and as soon as I left the front door, I shouted, "Fine, we'll go to Candy Cane Lane," and all the people laughed that were walking by, and I thought it was great.
Nice. Don't you love when like a bit hits just in public?
It hit hard.
I think my one that jumps out at me was I was in an Econ 101 lecture at U of A, so it was like 300 people, and I had an energy drink, and I opened it, and it was really quiet because it was just the one fucking professor talking.
I know where this is going.
And so I open it, I crack it, and it obviously cracks super loud, and then I do like the pause, and it crushed, and dude, it crushed. I actually got a good laugh from about 40 people or so around me.
That's actually
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I thought it was pretty good.
I love when you were in like elementary or something and said something retarded and people were just like
Hung on
loving
to
it. They
Yeah.
loved it.
Oh yeah.
Or I was the guy you hated because somebody would say something quiet and I would repeat it louder.
And then, you know,
I'd get
the
the
one
credit.
cute chick would laugh at you,
Yeah.
and then there's that angry kid in the corner like, no, fucking Josh, stealing my jokes.
Gotta make friends with him though.
Yeah, exactly.
Careful with those school occurrences these days.
Not going on that topic. Another one I had was during our commencement address. When our principal was talking, he made some fucking terrible, stupid joke. And I just went, huh! And it actually crushed pretty good too. So those are the highlights of my
Your career.
my comedic career.
Your sit-down career.
My sit-down comedic career.
There
So,
you go.
yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Probably have said zero funny things on here, so it's only down here from here, folks.
You know what? I got good feedback one time. There was a girl that we both know mutually. Went to
Yeah.
high school with her,
Yeah.
year younger. Said she'd never watched a podcast before. Shout out. You know who you are. She says she now watches podcasts because of us. Said we're
Nice.
funny.
Thank you, person. I think I know who it is. And anyways, so
Yeah, boy.
well, happy New Year, Josh. It is officially the new year, and this will be out. This is our first episode of 2020.
It is.
I did intentionally wait until that's why we're recording on a weird day for us, but
This is a weird day for sure.
Got to get back into the swang of things.
Well, I mean, we rang in the new year together.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little bit
Good times.
happy,
A little merry,
a little merry.
as they say.
Yeah. I'm never doing wine again to
No.
drink. This is
I feel
stupid.
like drinking wine to get drunk is...
You don't even get
not-
drunk, but you get hungover.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you get like a really kind of warm feeling. I don't know. There's like... I just don't think you should drink wine to get fucked up sort of thing.
Nope.
You can maybe get a nice buzz, warm feeling from wine, and probably cap it at that, honestly. So
I didn't buy the wine because it said Josh on it. I've literally heard good things about it, and I was disappointed.
I refute that statement. I believe you bought it solely for the sake of it had your name on it, and will now present my case with exhibits A through Z. Okay. So anyways, I feel like every podcast is probably talking about New Year's resolutions, etc. I think you're probably the same as me where you maybe aren't super keen on New Year's resolutions, right?
So one thing I realized today is that I went to the gym this morning.
Nice.
Resolutioners, not there yet. You know why? Monday.
Yeah, they're waiting.
They're waiting till the 6th.
Yeah. I'll start tomorrow.
Y'all are fucking 5 days behind.
Oh, dicks.
Oh, you almost done. I had something going there and you almost spilled your coffee.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm 5 days ahead of you. Get going.
Yeah.
Even though I was hungover yesterday?
You went yesterday?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I was having a bit of a pep talk with myself in the evening, thinking I could maybe at least get in the building, but didn't happen. Started watching The Dark Knight Rises. Good fucking movie.
There's been some marijuana brownies going around my house,
Yeah.
and there were some cooked yesterday. I did not partake. There's one waiting for me
When you get home?
after this podcast.
Nice. Didn't bring me one, man.
We should do a podcast on, oh my God, that's a great idea.
See how it turns out.
I just laughed the entire time.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
so I was laughing a lot, and then the only other thing I noticed was my teeth felt like they were miles apart, and it felt like I could run my tongue around each tooth. It was really fucking weird.
Weird.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it was pretty weird.
That does sound like a thing you would think when you're like moderately high, though.
Yeah.
As well. I could see that, you know.
Yeah. I just get a text from Adam, who's my downstairs roommate, and it's to our group chat, and it's, Josh sounds really fucked up right now.
Because you're just sitting there like,
No, just ha, 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 ha.
oh,
Just laughing about everything.
oh man. Yeah. Anyways, back to the
Resolutions?
5 days behind and such.
Yeah.
So
My resolution? 2 more weed brownies.
quality resolution. Yeah.
No, I think it's gonna be a good year.
Me too.
The resolution things is like, I don't know. I set goals. I set quarterly goals,
Yeah.
and yeah.
No, I'm more the same. I feel as though when is the time you really truly think about and set a resolution? Like, I actually met it was a boss of mine years ago who actually did a New Year's resolution every year, but did it successfully like a few times. He was telling me about it. But anyways, it would be like his year was no eating out, or sorry, no fried food.
Okay.
And then the next year he did like no hamburgers or something like that. So something simple, but just totally cut it out. And he actually did it. So
Interesting.
And he was a older dude trying to like cut out, lose a little bit of weight. Anyways, but
Yeah.
fairly simple. But when are you thinking about your resolutions? Well, you're thinking about them in that kind of time, during the holiday season, and particularly even maybe between the Christmas and New Year's, where you're not doing a heck of a lot. It's very easy to spend your time thinking about all the great things you're going to do, all the success you're going to have in the next year, because you're not really doing anything. You're not actually doing the work. And I've found myself on this side of the fence too, where, there's a lot of self-reflection in that time. And then even when, January 2nd or 3rd rolls around, you're like, oh, I'll wait till the Monday or whatever. You're like, shit, this actually kind of sucks doing the work.
I had some meetings downtown today.
Yeah.
It was really easy to get downtown at 9 a.m. That's never happened before in the history of Edmonton.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
True.
I think that waiting for an arbitrary date to start something is just, fire it up. Like, if
Yeah.
you want to start working out, just start working out.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the thing is, well, you're shackling yourself to January 1st to start something, and then, there's not like what would be, I guess July 1st would be the kind of halfway through the year point. Are you setting a time to review with yourself what were my resolutions for this year, right?
Yeah.
And then, or even I saw a good Gary Vee video today where he's like, well, what if on March 15th I have a revelation about something and I plan out the next 10 years of my life based on that sort, like, you really are shackling yourself to it. Not that I think I do think it's really good to reflect on your previous year, what you did right, what you did wrong, and what you want to change going forward, absolutely, and be kind of introspective that way. But kind of just setting an arbitrary resolution that starts on January 1st, end of the day, it's more about changing your internal software and hardware so you're actually making you'll make effective changes, but kind of stick to them, right?
I'd agree with that entirely.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, most people fail in their New Year's resolution just because probably they're trying to do too much, or they're trying to, work out 6 days a week when they had been going to the gym.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month. Type of thing.
And I think that's my thing too that I've been thinking about is doing things in extremes, and that's where I've actually kind of failed with certain goals and stuff, right? So
Sober October.
Yeah, Sober October, I did really well with the sober and working out part, but even so, and on that note, what I'm doing for myself now is monthly challenges. So kind of a different task or theme or whatever every month. And just because I found I really actually did very well with Sober October, just how it was, it was every day. I got to check off boxes every day, but then there was also kind of an end in sight, if you will. So
Gotcha.
So I feel like it made a lasting change on me in many ways, but I just really enjoyed the breaking it down to a month. And then you're not doing absolutes, but you're also not doing indefinitive goals, right? So for example, for me, because I've always kind of thought in the back of my head, I want to do yoga, right? But that's pretty open-ended. Oh, I can do it eventually. I'll do that someday, blah, blah, blah. Versus and then you have the other 6 other things I want to work on this year or whatever. It makes more sense to just really focus on that one for a month and be like, all right, I'm going to do 10 yoga sessions this month or something like that. And then that's kind of the one thing, so I just really like the Sober October, and I'm doing monthly challenges all year for myself, right? Just to kind of keep it going, and hopefully I get, set some good new habits and
What's
stuff.
this month's challenge?
So this month's it's a little weird, but essentially it's getting more productivity out of my unproductive time. So basically for January, every Friday and every Sunday, I have a list of things I have to do / time put in, because I found Friday afternoons I would mail it in a little bit, just because like it's kind of weird downtime in our business where my schedule is usually set for the weekend if I have working appointments, etc. And then I kind of just, anyone self-employed leaves the office at like 2 or 3 on Fridays, right? So if not earlier, so that was it. And then Sundays as well, just getting out, like I have to do a minimum, both days I have to do the workout. Like I do Friday morning hockey, but I want to get in the gym as well on those days. And then Sunday I have to do minimum 2 hours of work, like out of the house work session sort of thing. So
Gotcha.
So basically, those gaps in my calendar where I find I'm being unproductive and watching TV or whatever, making myself do those things. So,
Yeah, the conversation you and I had about productive time, and yeah, that actually did strike a chord with me in that there's probably time that's being wasted. Today was really good, though.
That's good.
There's no wasted time today.
No, I would agree. I think well, the topic there we were talking about was doing an audit of our time, right? And I think one, it's kind of a cliche in the self-help community or whatever, but oh, I don't have enough time. Well, how much time do you have, right? So there's 160 hours in a week, and you typically have about 112 waking hours, right? If you work a 40-hour work week, plus 2 hours of commuting a day, like that's kind of on the far end of things, I guess, right? So that's 50 hours, right? So you still have 62. But you actually
Good math.
yeah, exactly. But the point kind of being is when you break it down that way, yeah, in those numbers, less than half of your time is actually spent at your job, right? So I kind of find trying to think more in that scope and where are my inefficiencies and stuff. So
I had an app idea because of this,
yeah, what is it?
where you can actually just track your time and then put it on a calendar. It just automatically uploads to a calendar. So, for example, I did an hour of recording the podcast today. Right now, I hit the timer when I start.
Yeah.
I hit the timer when I stop.
Yeah.
I log it as what I was doing. Then it goes to the calendar. Then I can see on a calendar
Oh,
on a
I see what you're
daily
saying. Yeah.
basis what I'm doing.
Because there is actually an app for that where you have timers to start and stop, like
Yep.
when you're on social media, yada,
Yep.
yada, yada.
Yep.
But then I've never seen it where it translates to a calendar. So then you can like go back at the end of a week and look at it or
Closest
something
thing
like that.
I've seen is there's an app called Forest where you plant trees based
I
on
like it.
yeah,
Okay.
based on like pomodoros, which are like 25-minute working.
that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can do an hour, for example. You can set however long you want it to be. And
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure.
plant trees throughout the day, and you can label them for what they are, but you can't really see visually, okay, from 8:30 to 9:30, this is what I was doing.
Right.
You have to actually go into the app and like really dig for it. So
Yeah, for sure.
Something that even syncs with like Google Calendar and just this is what I did.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I like that. Something like that. But I think just kind of really auditing your time and challenging your beliefs even so. Because, well, statistically, the average white-collar worker actually only works 2 to 3 hours in a workday. So, you might think, oh, I worked 8 hours today, but did you? Right?
When you really buckle down for 2 or 3 hours, you can get a shit ton done.
Oh, yeah. And like 2 or 3 hours of like real work is, especially if you kind of get in a groove and whatnot, yeah, you can actually get a shitload done,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh, you could write like a chapter and a half of a book if you
yeah,
wanted to.
exactly. But the last time you were in, you, the viewer, me, the last time you were in a really good kind of flow state or whatever of working, you don't do it every single time you're doing work.
No, probably not.
No, it's maybe even few and far between for some, right? But then once you kind of get going, you're like, oh shit, right? Or like I kind of, you might kind of get in a groove or whatever and end up getting a bunch of shit done. And then you look at the time and you're like, oh, fucking hour and a half has passed or whatever. And I got all this shit done or whatever. So
Yeah. Notifications, that's the big thing. My lead dev, he even says like, I don't know how people write code and have notifications on their phone or computer or anything.
I feel like desktop notifications would be more distracting for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like if my phone's in my pocket and it buzzes, I usually can ignore it if I'm doing something else. But
I think we've been fucking Pavloved into ding.
Mouth drools,
Yeah,
salivate.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst one is the Snapchat notification. The Snapchat notification is designed to make you Pavloved.
Like when someone's typing, because how it notifies you twice.
That, but it also, just the like bloop sound, I can't do it, but people know what I'm talking about.
It's just like a good, attractive sound. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. It's very jarring. It's very jarring.
Yeah, and it's distinct. I don't think they share their sound with any other app.
No.
Right?
No. There's been times I've been like half asleep and I'll be woken right up by it. Like,
Yeah,
whoa.
fuck. Oh yeah, for sure. Because I find, iPhone started doing it was probably a few years ago now, but they did a software update, so now you get notifications twice. You know that? Like,
Yeah. When you don't like respond to a text or whatever and
Yeah.
you don't look at it, you get it again.
yeah, a couple minutes later.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm over here. I'm over here.
To be honest with you, like the only notifications I have on permanently are when people are trying to contact me directly,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's like a life or death situation.
Yeah.
There's no sounds whatsoever
Yeah.
besides phone calls.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I actually, because I have the sound on my phone right now. I don't know. I kind of go through phases, but I enjoy the tapping and stuff 'cause sometimes, or just I don't know, change it up. But
Yeah, but you can turn the sounds off the notifications.
That's true.
Life hack.
Life hack. No, there is something to turning off notifications. I do have all my social media notifications turned off, which is I think very good and makes a huge difference. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that
yeah.
for sure.
But I don't know. I think actually, are you on Ryan Serhant's newsletter?
No. Follow his Instagram
Yeah,
and stuff.
his newsletter is actually quite good. I think you'd enjoy it. But
Did you see his post today? Give him 50 G's out
Yeah.
to whoever. So I actually went to the site of the building.
what do you have to do again?
You just have to bring him a deal as a broker in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, I went to the site just because I wanted to see the marketing and stuff. So
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, you might see something similar
Oh, might you?
coming down the
Intriguing.
pipeline.
I'll have to take a look at it. And
It's pretty well done. I think
Nice.
that buildings in New York have to be well done. So
oh yeah, there's no real margin for error or not making really cool, trendy marketing there. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, he was talking about just well, it's kind of on this note, but just being more disciplined with his phone. He said, right, and app time. And I'm the same way where I kind of get sucked into an app for like 20, 30, 40 beyond minutes when it's I'll just do this quick check because I'm between things, and then all of a sudden you're down the fucking rabbit hole, right?
So TikTok, shout out to Carly who got her first 1 million views on a video. On
Really?
TikTok.
Did she? Damn.
I
Yeah.
gave her a shout out, or I messaged her on Instagram about it. But
Nice. I saw that she got like 75,000 followers or whatever. So
pretty impressive.
yeah.
That's Long and Hard alumni. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not saying that her TikTok following blew up after coming on our show. We're not
But
saying
there's
it
a very
didn't.
high correlation between
That's
Long and
true.
Hard appearance and Carly's TikTok views. So I don't know. We'll do what you will with that information.
Very true.
Yeah.
Where I was going with that though is TikTok. The average daily time spent is over an hour on that app.
Damn.
That's fucking crazy.
Damn.
For retention rates, they're doing something right.
Oh, absolutely.
For people,
Well, they do.
What the fuck
one
are you
thing
doing?
that was really cool that someone posted a screenshot of. It was probably Carly actually, but you can actually see what because you know TikTok has sounds, right? So you can kind of go on a thread for sounds and see everyone's rendition of that sound. But you can actually see what sounds your followers have been engaging with, which is so helpful because then you just say, oh, okay, this is what they want to see. And then you don't even
a
have to
sound.
think of what to do. You can just let people do it and then put your funny spin on it, right? So
I said something to her today, or after that, I was like, I wish I could dance or something. And then
yeah.
yesterday when I did that post promoting Eric's podcast, 12 Podcasts of Christmas,
Yeah, still available.
go listen. We still have 3 more episodes coming up.
They'll be out by this time, but you can catch up.
She sent me a message. She's like, the beard is not it. And I said, I don't want to look like I'm 13. The beard is it.
Wait, it? What do you mean it?
She's essentially saying, get rid of the beard.
Oh,
And I said,
nah.
nah.
I mean, if you wanted to look younger for the TikTok crowd, maybe, but
Maybe
Yeah, I
that'll be
know.
my first TikTok.
yeah.
Shaving my beard.
Do you want to touch the thing?
I
It's
like
gonna-
touching things.
Nice.
There we go. I'm really good at touching things.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe that'll be my first
Yeah.
TikTok is shaving my beard and acting like I'm 13 so I can fit in with the demo.
I mean, in reality, if we acted 13 again, we would just be like playing video games in our mom's basements, vigorously masturbating.
Speak for yourself, bro.
Fucking Bill Burr's bit where he was talking about how someone was, telling a Me Too story and said how a producer ran at her vigorously masturbating. But then
That's
he's
not how
like,
it works.
is there any other way to do it? Oh, man. Fucking,
Can you run while you're I don't think I could. Not because of my personal disability, but just because of the fact that it takes a lot of concentration.
But talk about patting your head and rubbing your belly or whatever.
You just got to lie there like a mannequin.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything on for a New Year's resolution or on that thread?
I'm going to get yoked this year. Really yoked.
Fucking swole.
Yeah.
Fucking yoked.
Like, super yoked.
Mm-hmm.
Check me on that 12 months down the road. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Personally, I just want to kind of stop any negative self-talk and really work on that tremendously hard, because I think that would, in and of itself, probably take me to another level.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just being cognizant of it, right? Or like you sort of almost forget about it or don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just kind of go into, to be aware of your self-talk, you need to sit there and think, I'm talking to myself right now.
Mm-hmm.
And really catch yourself on those negative thoughts.
It's definitely got to
But
be
I would
better.
agree.
But yeah. I mean, I've seen people where they'll do something silly and they'll literally say to themselves out loud, like, "You fucking idiot" or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, man, that's how you talk to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm not like that, but I think that there's definitely some improvements that can be made,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably will make a big difference when it comes to just getting out there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think because that's a very key foundation, self-talk, to just how you carry yourself, which, it's kind of a base kind of psychological principle, let's call it,
Mm-hmm.
for every other piece of your mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know what? Because, you might read something or or listen to something and then think, oh yeah, I'm going to consciously work on this. And you might do it for a little while, but then you might kind of forget about it and have to come back to it. Because it's funny you say that, because I even have caught myself lately where I'm like, whoa, why am I talking to myself this way? What about self-talk? Da-da-da. Like I totally forgot about it for a while, but that's kind of an important thing to do, I think. So.
Oh, absolutely. So
I actually, and then one thing I've kind of changed is, I actually saw a cool thing on, I don't know if you follow All Things Comedy on Instagram, but it was actually it's Bill Burr and some other guys, they're like comedy production company that they own, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it was a clip from Bill Burr, I believe his own podcast, where he was just talking about, the struggle coming up, trying to make it as a comedian. And he was talking about how, all the negativity and, when he was really struggling, barely making any money, doing these random spots at mics in New York, hard city to make it, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And he would walk around, but he would talk to himself, but, he's a very angry, fiery dude. And he would talk to himself and, he said he would walk down the street, and when he caught himself having a negative thought, he'd say like, nah, fuck that, like to himself out loud, and people thought he was crazy or whatever. But I kind of like that in terms of like maybe a more slightly strong / aggressive self-talk versus self-talk of being like, no, it's all okay, just calm down a little bit. Be more like having a little fun with it even, and be like, no, fuck that, like that shit won't fucking beat me, right?
Yeah.
Or I'll remember what I was thinking about, where I was kind of getting, something was bothering me or whatever, but it was something internet or computer related.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not gonna let these fucking numbers on a screen beat me, right? Like, just think about it that way. So
Absolutely. And I think that at the end of the day, life is continually putting yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
and if you really care what other people think of you, it's going to be very difficult to do that.
yeah,
So almost getting to the point where you really stop caring
mm-hmm.
about, Mark Manson's subtle art of not giving a fuck,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible of the millennial generation. But
Seriously,
but really kind of only caring about the people that really do matter, and then putting yourself out
Mm-hmm.
there 100 times it's much more important than,
yeah,
and the self-talk plays into that, where you got to really believe it in your bones.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, I think, and we talked about this a long time ago, so I'll say it again, but the kind of base principle on self-talk that we sort of learned was you really should talk to yourself how you speak to a friend, good
Yeah.
friend, someone
Oh,
you care
yeah.
about, right? Because a lot of people talk to themselves like, fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, you always fuck this shit up.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine if would you speak to like a friend like that? Would you speak to a parent or a
Yep.
sibling, someone you
Definitely.
really care about? Yeah,
No,
exactly. So,
absolutely not.
so, and then when I don't know, I think if you think about it that way, you're like, oh wow, that makes sense, right? And it's actually one of the 12 rules from life from Jordan Peterson's book where it's pretend you're someone worth caring about or something like that. Is one of the general guiding principles. But
Yeah.
you know, why not? You know, if you're polite to people on the street, if you give your friends good encouragement, why are you not deserving of that as well from you? So
I think that if you really want to get meta with it, you kind of manifest that inner thought too. You and I have having a conversation like probably a couple months ago, and it was about dating, and it was about like one night stands. And you said something to me that you saw somewhere, and it was like, you. How did I phrase it, or how did you phrase it? It was something about like you could be the person that has the one night stands, or that is like worth dating, and you kind of make that decision.
Oh, yeah. So what it was, you know, if you're kind of someone, what this particular lecturer, it was a Jordan Peterson clip that I saw somewhere. Right?
Okay.
Wee woo controversial person, but anyways, no, it was kind of by engaging in casual sex, you are effectively you treat yourself as a casual sex partner as well, right? So when it comes to dating apps, etc., it very much is you get what you give, right?
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
you know, when it comes to things like manifestation, well, manifestation is real in a way in that when you think about things, you will subtly make changes and go towards them unconsciously, and then you will make some conscious decisions as well, and that's for the positive or the negative, right? So if you kind of consciously think, oh, excuse me, things are boring, I just want to get fucked up on weekends, well then you'll kind of take small micro steps towards that, and you do kind of manifest and create reality that way without even really thinking about it. It doesn't have to be, I'm thinking about my goals every day, I'm talking positive to myself, I'm positive. It's also, you manifest things inadvertently without thinking about it. Like if you do nothing, you're still doing something, right? So,
Yeah. But you kind of attract what you are. And
that's exactly it.
I always loved the whole all men are trash or all women are trash or whatever. It's like, hey, look inside.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day where, and this is very much on both sides of the fence of if you're kind of out there saying all women are X or all men are Y or whatever, maybe you're the fucking problem, right? So, you know, there's a Mark Twain quote that says, if you find yourself on the side of on the opposite or on the side of society,
On the side of majority.
maybe you're doing the wrong thing, blah blah blah. Well, very much.
Hold on, you butchered it. I have. It's
Okay,
literally
can you
my
correct
favorite.
it? Can you correct it?
Literally my favorite quote of all time is,
Yeah.
when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect.
Yeah.
And it's
It's a great quote, but
yeah, I love it.
when said in the way of, let's say, entrepreneurship or being a self-starter or going for your goals, because a lot of people cling to that quote and will look at it and say, oh, well, I need to change things up. And that's good. But, things are not absolutes. Sometimes when you find yourself on the minority side, and you look around and it seems like everyone else around you is wrong, the world is screwed up, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe you're wrong.
Maybe it's you, right?
Yeah. Or maybe you're right.
Or maybe you were right. But,
Yeah.
I the one thing I've actually really enjoyed the subtle art of not giving a fuck, just because it's hard to admit to yourself, because most people naturally want to think you're exceptional. It's part of you yourself are exceptional. It's part of the human condition. And it's not wrong to have confidence in yourself. But there's nothing wrong with being particularly kind and normal, right? There's a reason there is kind of normal and norms. It's because we as humans sort of gravitate towards that, right? And when it comes to, yeah, I was just thinking about that for someone I know where they seem to constantly feel like the whole world's against them. And it's like, have you looked inside? Like maybe you're being the insufferable person in this scenario. You never know, right? It's the old anecdote of, can't wait for one of Taylor Swift's exes to come out and write a song that says maybe you're the fucking problem, right? So, I don't know.
I think people are always looking, well, not people always, because again, absolutes.
There are no absolutes.
Yeah, but the vast majority of people do look externally for the solutions to their problems.
Absolutely.
When
absolutely.
it's really, it really starts inside, and it really starts with the decision that I'm going to make the change.
Yep.
And do whatever it takes to get to where I want to be. And most people don't want to take responsibility for their success or their failure, really. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Yeah. No, and then well, the thing I was kind of thinking to myself a long time ago was, well, within the past year perhaps, was, take an extreme responsibility with yourself, right? Like, pretend for a minute every single thing in your life is 100% your fault and you're responsible for it, no matter how terrible or tragic it is. Kind of think of it as a thought experiment. Like, oh, I'm not happy with the shape I'm in. Okay, well, take responsibility for that. You can kind of think, okay, well, I didn't work out enough, I didn't eat clean enough, etc. I'm unhappy with how much income I've made. It's unfair, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, were you taking days off? Were you taking some liberties? Were you calling in sick? Were you not taking those extra appointments? I obviously speak from a realtor point of view.
Yeah.
Take that extreme responsibility, and then, again, thought experiment, like, if you have a catastrophic injury, do you think to yourself, am I responsible for this? And do you take responsibility? And then, if you have a brutal terminal illness, do you take responsibility there? And sometimes, sometimes life is unfair and it's not your fault. Absolutely. And that's not who I'm speaking to. And, I have sympathy for those situations, but I'm just saying, kind of take that extreme responsibility as far as you can go, right? Are you responsible for your upbringing? Well, no, not really. That's completely outside your control, right? So, all right, the line kind of stops there. Are you responsible for, the level of education you received? Not really. That was largely out of your control and depends on circumstances, right? But then you can kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, but this is what I'm responsible for, right? And then, then I ended up reading, whatever you want to say, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And his biggest thing was, you know what, like, you're not responsible for what happens to you, but you are 100% responsible for how you react and handle any situation. Absolutely. No matter what it is, right? Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, is the only things you can really control in this world is what you do in any moment and kind of how you feel, right? You can sort of control how you feel. You sort of can't due to brain chemicals and yada yada, but you kind of can, or you can point yourself in the right direction. And other than that, there's actually very little you can control in the world. You can't control other people. You can't control, you can influence, you can suggest. You can't truly control your kids, right? Like they're human beings. You can sort of control and train pets, but do you have absolute control over them? No, right? So kind of owning that, and what can you really have ownership and take control of, right? So
that is the thing, is taking ownership of it, and you can't affect everything that happens to you. Obviously, I'll speak from obviously my experience, but you can take responsibility for the recovery process, forgiving your all in that situation and doing whatever you can. Like, that's what you can control, really. And I mean, everybody has that opportunity and that ability.
I actually, because I would find myself, and then, two books that I read relatively close together, and a lot of their themes tied together, was also, I should say listened, but David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah. Phenomenal book.
Yeah, very good. And, I've written and listened to and done enough self-improvement things in my life that I can know when something has had a true impact on me and is very profound. And I would say both those books, particularly David Goggins, and just listening to him, is very life-changing, I think. And I feel and hope and try to that I've actually internalized a lot of his ideas and try my best to act on them. But the biggest thing he said, and this is something I've been working on for the past like 2 years, but one thing he said that just articulated so well was just no one's coming to save you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can sit around and feel woe is me. You can put in a half-ass effort to fix your problems. You can give it your all and maybe you'll come up a little bit short, but either way, no one's going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught myself in earlier times of my life kind of wanting people to feel bad for me in certain ways, in certain aspects, and almost wanting things to be done for me in a way, right? And not in extremes, but when I objectively break it down, it's like, okay, I was just kind of waiting for someone else to do this, right? So, you know, so, and there's nothing wrong with, you know what, if you get fucking kicked and down, like, you know, you don't have to pretend to be all peppy and happy, but no one's coming to save you, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
and I just really think I really have internalized that. And going back just a little bit with taking responsibility for your situation and stuff, like it even comes down to the comparing yourself to others thing. And I found I had a really hard time a couple of years ago where, you know, I would see other real estate agents succeeding on social media and I'd get so pissed and feel like, you know, I'd kind of be, oh, why am I not there? Why am I not in this situation? Why aren't these clients, people coming to me?
Right.
I've put myself out there. I'm better at it, blah, blah, blah.
But were you really?
Well, exactly, right? So was I actually better than them at the time? I don't know. You know, or when I looked at my schedule, speaking of time auditing, it's okay, well, you have no idea how much time they put in, and you put in bullshit time today. Fuck, you didn't even call that lead.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, maybe there's a reason for all that. And, you know, it's the Marcus Aurelius quote of, you know, don't compare yourself to the next man, for you've not paid the price that he's paid, right? Yeah. You know, the particular individuals at the time, you know, they were agents who had been in it longer than me. They'd obviously put in some really good time. And then it's like, okay, well, they posted a picture of them selling a house today. What did they do today? What did they do last week? What did you do? And you shouldn't compare yourself to others. But even so, kind of having that self-aware conversation of, oh, you know, it's easy to, when I worked hard, I did good work, but it was in limited bursts that I did it at the time. So,
yeah. Life is continually taking action. And that's really more and more what I'm coming to realize is that it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. It doesn't have to be the finished product is probably never going to be perfect, but you have to continually put it out there and get the feedback and get pushing it out there to see, hey, what's the actual interest and why is it not working, or why, oh, it is working? Okay, awesome. And then we make changes and go from there. I think that a lot of people everybody has good ideas, but the difference maker is really acting on them. And that's kind of what you're getting at too, is that, hey, like, what's the difference maker between the top 10% and the bottom
10%?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would even argue the bottom 50% is really, it's action. It's continually putting yourself out there. It's continually doing the different things that make the difference that 365 days from now, I'm going to have 50 sales as opposed to 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about doing things that suck. And I try to make myself do things that suck. And speaking of self-talk, I consciously catch myself as of late where it's like, okay, I want to sell X homes in a year, but then you kind of have an appointment that comes up at an inconvenient time. I'm like, oh wait, no, like I need to do this. I need to make it happen. I need to take this, right? You know, because and sometimes the introvert comes out and you just don't want to go out there and meet new people, but then if you do it, it usually goes well and you'll feel pretty good afterwards anyways. But or at the gym, it's like, oh man, like doing this next exercise would really suck. Guess I gotta go do it, right? Like,
well,
that's
even
kind
just
of
getting out of bed to go to the gym does kind of suck.
Yeah.
It's a nice fucking warm bed.
Yeah,
it's so comfy.
That's my thing, is wanting to catching myself like, oh man, this would really suck. Let's go do it, right? Like you have to do that, and doing the shitty things. And you know, we've been talking about this, and I'll I'll answer my own question first and then ask you said question.
Sure.
But it's kind of, I do reflect a lot this time of year in the holiday season on the year before and what went well, what went wrong. And basically, I don't really set like an objective resolution per se. I will set goals for the year. But I think a bigger thing is if like I would say reflecting on the year of what went right and what went wrong is way more important than actually setting a new resolution because you might even learn where to go. So like I know for 2018, I actually felt a lot of like I had a pretty solid year that year, but I actually I felt a lot of regret at the end of the year. Just because I felt I hadn't worked hard enough, right? I wasted a lot of time in the summer of that year specifically, dicked around a lot, did a lot of just unproductive things. So I had a not bad year, but then I was kind of remorseful where it's, oh shit, I wasted a lot of time. I could have worked a lot harder. I knew I had more in me. I don't want to feel this way again because I can't get that time back. So that was my thing in 2019 was just simply work harder and put in more time every week, which I did. And I did actually significantly improve my business. But now looking back at the end of this year, my thing has been my 2020 mantra is go the extra mile because, I worked harder. I put in more hours and stuff, but I would still take a few liberties. I wouldn't go like just doing one more thing or one more hour of work or 5 extra calls or 5 extra emails, just doing those extra inches that really add up. And that's really where the difference comes in. Right.
Well, I mean, it shows already you've a fucking deal pending.
Yeah.
Day 2 of the year.
Day 2 of the year, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, so, and even that's one where, sometimes during the holidays, the client would want to do, have a showing. I'm like, oh man, I kind of just want to bum around tomorrow. But it's like, you know what? It's like 2 hours out of my day or hour and a half, depending on how many homes, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's going to feel good.
Yeah.
Right. Like you kind of have to catch yourself there too. Right. So that was kind of my reflection, on 2019 where it's like, I feel good about it. I don't have that remorse I felt at the end of 2018, but I do think I just could have gone further. And I look at it in a more positive light where I'm not mad at myself. It's like, you did this production, made this much money. Was it truly that hard? No, not really. Like it was pretty manageable. So I clearly have way more in me and way more to give, and I think everyone does, right? And I really love the David Goggins rule, which is the 40% rule of
Navy SEAL rule.
Yeah. Once you're at your wit's end, given all you've got, you feel exhausted. You can't go an inch further. You've really only used 40% of your capacity. And I don't know if that's the most scientific number, but I like the principle of you have no idea what you're capable of, and when you feel like you're spent, you've probably only tapped the surface. It's actually amazing how much more you can do, when you put your mind to it, sort of thing. So
there was a period of time there was I was studying Navy SEALs. I was reading books about them, and
oh yeah,
baddest motherfuckers alive, man.
It's very true. It's pretty amazing.
Just the mental fortitude. Like it's not even just what they do or whatever. It's just the mentality. But you said 2 really good things there. Go the extra mile. How many fucking people are actually going the extra mile?
Well, and that's the thing between, okay, top 10% of realtors, bottom 50%.
Yeah.
You both probably want to sell that many homes.
Yeah.
But are you really willing to do the shitty stuff to grind it out to get those clients, get the rejections, to actually succeed in the deals? Are you going to take the extra step to follow up with that client one more time, just if they've been ignoring you, right? Just to stay in touch. That's the difference makers and stuff too.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
it's just going the extra mile because 95% of people don't do it.
Yeah.
And so that was point number 2 of 2. The first one, however, was what was more painful? Doing the actual thing and maybe getting rejected for it or whatever, or was it the regret at the end of the year? What was more painful?
Ooh, damn. Good question. Yeah, absolutely the regret, right? Like
100%.
Even the times where, you kind of, kind of did one extra follow-up email or they were like, oh, sorry, Thomas, we're listed with someone else or whatever. I don't really give a shit. That I forget about those
Yeah.
moments really. So
Yeah.
but then the amount of times where I've gone that extra mile and it's panned out, and it's trying to catch myself when it happens and seeing the cause and effect of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was one day where, I had a really good family that I worked with for about 6 months of last year versus selling a home and buying another one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of one where, like, it was a Saturday afternoon appointment that I took, and I kind of caught myself moving around stuff. I was like, nope, like I need to do this. I need to go out, see this one, meet these people, get this done. And then it turned into a great relationship and quite a bit of money down the road. And, you kind of I have to look at myself and talk to myself, whatever, and just realize in those moments like, oh, look what that extra mile, just getting out there, putting in the work, getting yourself the opportunity and just showing up
Mm-hmm.
was a huge part of the battle, and look how it turned out, right? So,
I have the thing where I think that you can either front load pain or you can back load it.
damn, I like that.
So you can eat well today, and it's a little bit painful because it's not like I'm not having pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I can be 30 pounds overweight a year down the road,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And then like, I'm very thankful I had a good metabolism as a kid, and my parents kept me sort of active. So you know, to go from being a skinny person
Mm-hmm.
to work out and build muscle is way easier than being like fat and having to backtrack, right?
Mhm.
Like that would be really fucking hard
Yeah.
to like lose a shitload of weight or whatever.
Yep.
That's like people who have done that. It's actually very impressive. The more you know about, well, just nutrition, working out, and et cetera, like to have to, you're starting from behind zero sort of thing. It's very hard, right?
Mhm.
So
It's far more painful. Like it's far more painful to have that experience though than to
Mhm.
get out of bed in the morning, your warm, cozy bed, and
Yeah.
just go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like that's painful. That is absolutely painful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's fucking painful every single morning I do it.
yeah,
And then, but I know at the end of the day, the alternative is far worse. It's the same thing with rejection. Like
yeah,
you see a cute girl or whatever in a coffee shop,
yeah.
and you go up to her and you get rejected. That's far less painful
Fuck it. Yeah.
than the regret of never even trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm writing about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the book. It's in the book.
So what was your wins and losses from 2019
Wins and losses from 2019.
in your positive reflections of
Yeah.
the past year?
Well, I mean, Revere, as a company, we had 3 or 4 employees beginning of
Mhm.
2019, and we were up to, including interns
Yeah.
and you guys, I think we were up to 20 by the end of 2019. That number shifts around sometimes
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
have students and everything, but
Yeah.
like that was a huge win for us. Getting a little bit of funding, that was a huge win. Um, I mean, physically, I think that I had a relatively good year. I didn't really smash any physical goals that I
Yeah.
wanted to, so that's going to be a bigger focus this year for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that you can still do those physical things and still do everything else. I had such a good day today where it was just consistent momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Got up in the morning, went to the gym, got home, had a meeting, got home from that meeting for 20 minutes, washed all the dishes, fucking cleaned the house, left to the next meeting. Got
Yeah.
home from that meeting, 2 hours of work, packed up, went to this. And then now we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Then the momentum's going to continue.
Yep.
As I reach for the fucking computer, there we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I have to log in. But that's
No, no, I agree. And having a really good day like that feels pretty amazing, right? Like you almost, there was an old Grant Cardoneism of, what would he say? It was kind of a weird thing to hear at the time, but then I sort of figured it out after he would say, you want to meet the devil, have white space on your calendar or whatever, right? So because when you're sitting around doing nothing, it's very easy for those negative thoughts to come creeping in.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you have a really, really good, busy day, I find at the end of the day, you're like, oh shit, like I didn't even have time to be worried or stressed out or whatever. Like I was just doing all the good stuff, right? So
If you want something done, give it to a busy man. I love that adage too. But not only that, I think the solution to a lot of these issues that people run into, the worry, the anxiety, the whatever, and I mean, there's obviously mental health issues and stuff, but
Yeah.
man, the solution is just movement. It's
I
continual
think so.
movement, physical, mental, everything. It's just continually moving forward
Yeah.
in whatever or whatever way you can, and that's huge, man. There's the shittiest days I've ever had in my entire life were the days where I fucking didn't do anything. The days where I knew that I should have been doing something and I didn't do it. Those are the worst days of my life. And I'll sit there and I'll have this anxiety and this worry or whatever. But when I start moving, it all goes away. Those issues still may loom, but I know that I'm working towards fixing those issues or whatever it may be. And that in and of itself cuts out the worry so much more than just sitting there and, oh no, like I got a bill to pay or like, fuck, like that sort of thing. It's consistent movement.
Yeah.
If I had one thing to say, that's just the solution to a lot of issues is movement.
Just to start, you can do something. There's always something to do, and there's always something more to do. And you can always take steps to improve your situation, even a little bit, right? Like, let's pretend, and again, like, yeah, there's mental health problems, and you know what, like, you can, seeking help that way can benefit probably most people. Sure, I won't take away from that. But, I do believe you need to think to yourself, there is a lot you can actually do yourself to improve your situation and get to a better level before you really need to take it any further, I think, right? Like, let's say, maybe you're a 5.5 out of 10 on the happiness scale. You could probably get yourself to like a 7.5 all by yourself without any external help if you just kind of start doing a few small key things, right? So
yeah, I mean, you could probably get yourself all the way to 10 if you're not too hard.
If you're the majority of, here's the thing too, and I think, there's something about hearing tough advice and giving yourself a little tough advice too.
Yeah.
Was Mark Manson, that's the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
This episode is going to literally be
all
called
about him. But he always said, again, most people think they're exceptional. And if you're not exceptionally good at something, well, then you must be, like, it's natural to think you're exceptionally bad, or the other way. Like, everyone thinks their scenario is really bad. It's not like, I'm not ripping on people saying that. It's because it is the human condition to be that way. And I found myself there, like I kind of just said, right? So, but we have news for you, like, statistically speaking,
if you're listening to
every single person listening, every single person out there, probably, like, if you hear me say that, you might have thought to yourself, oh, but I'm different.
Yeah.
There's actually a very high chance you are not, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, right? Because then you're like, oh, well, I guess it's just natural for me to think I'm exceptionally depressed or have a really hard time or have a hard go of things. There's actually a pretty good chance that you don't. You just think that way. It's the way your brain is kind of designed.
Yep.
So when you kind of accept that fact, it's almost becomes a little easier to think, oh, okay, well, I guess I have the ability to improve my situation. Let's try it. Let's kind of see what happens, right? So
yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that perspective is this huge thing.
Yeah.
And when you see that there are absolutely people out there that have it worse than you,
I think that's the thing too, is to realize there's always someone with it worse. And I don't know. It also doesn't need to be a contest, right? So
no,
because people have contests in the positive, but also in the negative of like whose situation is shittier, right? So
absolutely.
And I've gotten caught in that trap, and you just have to stop yourself, right? So
yeah, I think the perspective is huge though, and just realizing that your situation is probably not unique. There probably has been somebody else that's gone through something similar to you, and here's a positive of social media.
Yeah.
You can probably find them. I mean, when I went through what I went through, there's 3 or 4 people that I found that
had similar injuries and situations.
Yeah. And that overcame it. And I knew it was possible. And then there you go. And I mean, even just being in the hospital with the people that may never walk again or whatever, you see that, hey, like, okay, I don't have function below my waist, but there's people that are quadriplegics.
Yeah.
That can't feed themselves.
Yeah.
And then you realize, hey, like, be grateful that you still have what
What
you
you
have.
have, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's huge because I think that the gratuity and having a thankfulness for what you do have
Mm-hmm.
is a way to really change your. It makes you a lot happier when you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understand that
Yeah.
I'm really thankful that I have a roof over my head,
Yeah.
a bed to wake up in the morning, or that I even just woke up this morning.
Yeah.
When you
That,
start
or,
looking at it that way,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Even the simple things like you can, okay, well, if you're listening to this, well, you have access to internet.
mm-hmm,
That's pretty good.
yep,
You probably live in North America. That's pretty good,
mm-hmm.
right? You probably have a smartphone. That's pretty good, right?
You
Like when,
probably have most of your faculties. You're probably a semi-intelligent
yeah,
person.
yeah.
You can probably learn how to do.
You're
Seriously,
bare minimum. If you listen to us, you're at least
you
semi-intelligent.
got at
So,
least an IQ of 170.
yeah,
But no, like you can probably learn how to do pretty much anything. It's going to take time, but you can probably learn how to do pretty much anything.
yeah.
You, if you have a functioning body, you should be thankful. If you have the ability to lose weight, you should be thankful. Like even if you're in a shitty spot right now, you have the ability to overcome it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's pretty huge unto itself. Yeah.
So on that note, did you have any kind of losses or things you just wish you had done a little bit better or you want to
No
change in
losses.
2019? From 2019 going into 2020?
I think you can always have a better year.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's always more that you can do. There's always
Mhm.
more contacts to make.
Yeah.
There's always more people to talk to. There's always more sales to make. There's always more
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah.
That being said, I had a pretty good year. Like I just had I did a lot of things that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really is glaring me
Yeah.
in the face right now that I didn't really accomplish. I mean,
I think it's more just realizing what is possible and
Yeah.
probably thinking to yourself you have so much more to give. Like
Yeah.
are you what were you so physically exhausted and spent at the end of the year? No. Like and I think trying to find that line and threshold is like a good thing to do.
True.
Right? Because I don't know, it's easy to be 40, 50, 70, 80 and say, "Oh fuck, like I should have done more in that decade or that year or whatever," right? So, it's because I feel like someone who says I have no regrets is just like a delusionally unself-aware person and
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
projecting, right?
Yeah.
So it's more so having the self-awareness to say, "Oh, damn, here's my regrets. Here's what I did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I am aware of these and why I didn't like the outcomes or why I feel I should have done those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna correct course going forward, right?"
Definitely.
So,
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, like Revere could be a 100-age brokerage. Like I could have done that much more. Like there's still so much more to do,
Mhm.
and that pushes me every single day to know that there's so much more that can be done.
Yeah.
And to me, that's pretty powerful. Like
I
even
think-
just knowing that.
I think it's kind of the Peter Thiel, like, ask yourself profound questions. And his particular one is, why can't you achieve your goal for the next 10 years in the next 6 months, right? And you know what? Maybe it's not plausible, but at least when you think in, like, those ridiculous terms of what it would look like, you kind of, it's just a good way to question your own beliefs.
Yeah.
And then you might realize, okay, like, maybe I'm not thinking big enough, or this is what it would look like, this is what I could do, etc., right? Like, so.
Well, even the Cardone 10x.
Right. Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
10x.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the guy. Some people don't, but
Oh, I enjoy him. He's kind of a little bit of a showman, but he does some good stuff. So, yeah.
showman is where it's at, man.
So on that note, we're at just over an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably good for a solo episode. Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'm also looking forward to this year for this show and what we can do and achieve and bring to our viewers and fans, and just always trying to get better and improve the product we put out there.
You saw me walking in here, being a social media whore.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Pour it up, baby.
That's what we're doing.
Yep. And I think we have some good guests planned and stuff, and we're gonna add a little more to our show and maybe have some recurring segments and some cool shit. So always trying to improve the product that comes to your eyes and ears. So
Your ear balls.
Your ear balls. And yeah. What the fuck? What was I gonna say? I don't know. But also like just to reflect on the podcast, or well, we kind of did already. But I don't know. It was pretty cool. So
man, like again, biggest regret probably not starting this 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly. Did we even listen to podcasts 5 years ago?
I think I started listening to podcasts in like maybe 2014. I want to say.
Yeah, and if then it was a fringe, like
it was a fringe for sure.
Well, I would only listen to the podcasts of kind of specific bloggers I followed at the time. I didn't really get into mainstream ones like Joe Rogan or that crew. I would say is kind of like the podcasting home base, if you will, for a lot of people. I didn't get into that till like maybe 2015, 2016. And if then it was only like very mild, and then I've kind of gone further into it. And also gotten in more various like comedy and entertainment ones, not just the like serious meta ones. So.
Just content at the end of the day, man. It's like how many people know us? Maybe, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000?
Yeah. And that's like at a passing have heard your name before, right?
Yeah.
Like, so how do you...
There's a lot more people out there. In a world of noise. We're going to be the loudest.
Shut up. Awesome. And I just want to, I feel the need to give a shout out to the Awesome Hour, who is, sadly, we lost them in
2019. Yeah.
They're fine. They just aren't doing their show anymore, but it was a really cool show, and glad we got to be a part of it. And it's a shame we found it so late on, because, I've gone back and listened to some of their older stuff, too, and it's very good. So
we were in the final 10, I think, or what episode were we? 187?
Something like that. So
yeah,
not quite. Maybe final 20, 25.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely in the top 10 of theirs. So yeah, shout out those guys. Go check out the Awesome Hour. Some great, good local show there. And just giving a nod of our head and tip of our cap to the elder statesmen, to the OGs of the Yeg Podcast community.
Take your fucking hat off.
We will. No, I will tip it. But and we will hopefully carry the torch, do those gentlemen proud in 2020. So
we may even have them on. We'll see what happens.
You never know. Shh. Secret. Don't tell them. Damn it. There's so many sweet guests. Don't tell them that Jay-Z and Elon Musk are coming on this year. God.
Vladimir Putin?
He's doing a North American tour.
I was talking to somebody who's like, you should get Don Iverson on. I was like, maybe.
I feel like if anyone would feasibly do it, it might be him. So we got to work in progress. We'll see how it goes.
Maybe I'm just going to reach out to everybody.
Honestly. Like, why not just email, like, fucking famous people shit? So, they might go look at your page. You never know.
Maybe they're coming in town for a concert or something. Yeah. Maybe we'll get, that's what they did. The Awesome Hour did.
Yeah, they had the Cancer Bats guy. Guitarist, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
That's pretty sick.
That's pretty dope.
So, I mean, I think there's even a lesson there, and I think they would agree with it. If you don't ask, you don't know, right? So, yep.
Always ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a good way to finish we always finish each other's sandwiches, so. All right, we'll catch you next week. Let's have a good 2020, folks.
Yeah. Get her done.
Ow. Caught my finger in there.
Well, that's going to be in the episode. No, I'm just kidding.